And now we have 2 more added on to the team. And I don't think Pat's going to like it. Hi guys, my name is Maria Park, and in this episode we are reviewing Stargirl episode 5, Our Man and Dr. Midnight. Okay, so this episode was pretty cool. I really liked the fact that right off the bat, Courtney's mother almost found her bag of JSA goodies in her closet. So let's talk about what happened in this episode. This was actually more of a Rick Tyler, or Harris as he's going by, and Beth Chappell kind of team-oriented or added team-oriented episode. But I'll kind of give a summary and then I'll talk about what I didn't like. But before that, there were a couple of really cool Easter eggs in this episode. The first one being the addition of the mention of the Green Lantern's lantern, which we do see at the end. We see Pat when he discovers the bag. So we do see Green Lantern's lantern in there, which does explain why there will probably not be any more JSA members, because Pat is going to confiscate what's left. And I love that they had Artemis Cal in the hallway. And when Yolanda asked basically Courtney why she didn't choose her as one of the recruits, and she said she wanted to, but she seemed to be too aggressive, which is kind of funny since in the comics she's Tigress. So I did like that. Now, Rick was raised by his uncle Steve, who is a bit of a twat. I'm going to say twat's my word for the day. He's not a good guy. Apparently, he's implied to have put Rick down a few times. Rick has a lot of anger issues because we see in the beginning of the episode, 9 years before, his parents had to leave suddenly. And his mother, Wendy, had called her brother, Steve, to come and basically be his dad. They left him $50,000 to take care of him. And, Rex Tyler, basically our man, was on the run. So Rick doesn't understand any of this. He never knew that his father was part of the JSA. So when his parents left, he thought that they got killed in the car crash, like they hit this tree, and they basically were killed. And he believes this through almost the entire episode. What actually happens is that Solomon Grundy hits their car and slams them into a tree. But Rick has changed his name from Rick Tyler to Rick Harris, which is the uncle's last name. And so for all intents and purposes, nobody knows who he is, which is to keep him safe. The father does imply that Rick is very special. I don't know if that means he has abilities that his dad did not, because his dad was a chemist and his dad created the hourglass that allows him to have super strength for about an hour a day. Same as comic books. And I don't know if they're going to follow the comics. So I just want to know what is special about Rick. So, outside of the fact that he can bond with the hourglass through DNA, because the hourglass can only be used by Rex Tyler's DNA. So, of course, his son would be able to use it. But yeah, I want to know if there's something outside of that. I love when characters are implied to be more than they are, but if the CW does not follow through, it's going to take me off. So yeah, Rick's very angry. Courtney is riding to school with Pat with the huge bag that she's saying is gym class. All her gym stuff is in, which Pat's an idiot if he believes that. And when they come across Rick, who drives by or walks by them, and Rick is into renovating cars. So when Pat's car breaks down, they start talking about, that he needs a carburetor, because the carburetor he got when he was restoring this like yellow 66 Mustang, and his uncle keeps basically pawning all of the parts he gets in. And the latest one was a carburetor. So he was talking to Pat about a carburetor, I guess because everyone knows that Pat runs a body shop and he's a mechanic. But while he's walking away from them, like the hourglass reacts to him and Courtney starts stalking him. Well, when she gets to him and she like shakes it towards him, nothing happens, which of course, because it has to be used by him in his DNA, just like the staff chose her. She never really puts this together. I don't know why. She just doesn't. Very naive superhero, but again, she's probably doing this for 2 or 3 weeks now. So I'm gonna cut her some slack on that. But simultaneously, in the last episode, Wildcat, Beth Chappell was in the hospital parking lot when she heard Courtney refer to Yolanda by name instead of calling her Wildcat, which is, as Beth points out later through Chuck, the AI in the Dr. Midnight goggles, a rookie mistake. What irritated me about this is how they keep treating Beth. And I'm going to say this because it ticked me off. And it's because Courtney was a new girl. She defended Yolanda to Cindy, and she's defended all these people, and she's got this righteousness and justice thing in her. But even she's kind of like blows Beth off because Beth talks a lot and nobody wants to hear what she's saying. So she completely blows her off. But what irritated me even more was how Yolanda was treating her. I mean, you're pretty much the pariah of the school right now. Nobody forced you to take a picture of yourself and send it to your boyfriend. Yes, I know what happened to her was wrong, what her family's doing to her is wrong. But the Yolanda right now is not the Yolanda I was rooting for with episode 4. Because episode 4 Yolanda seemed to evolve. She wasn't the popular girl anymore who basically got knocked off her pedestal. But in this episode, she seemed just as flipping entitled as she did prior to all the stuff that happened to her. And it really ticked me off how she was treating Beth. Like, she was treating Beth like Beth had leprosy. She's like, why is she here? We need to get rid of her. No, why did you include her? And it's like that same mean girl mentality that we see with Cindy. And that actually made me upset. I'm like, they need to leave my girl Beth alone because let's be real, Beth's smarter than all of you. Like, just saying. So I was not happy with how they were treating her. I thought that blow off was a little too easy and a little too mean for me. And it was so sad seeing her sitting outside the Halloween party saying she couldn't go home because her mother was working double shifts and her father was out of town and she doesn't have anybody. She has no friends, no other family, just her parents. And she considered her parents to be her best friends and they're kind of blowing her off, like, get a life. You know, we want to do our lives. Like, she says, we want to live our lives now. And then she's like, what about me? And so she's trying to connect with the people that are at the loser table with her, and they're blowing her off. So I feel so bad. Like, even when they're talking about her, you know, they were going to suit up and they're convincing Rick, you know, to be our man and Yolanda, like, they're all talking about, let's go suit up. And they're like, well, you know, this is Wildcat, this is Stargirl. Oh, and she's just temporary. And I'm like, what? Like, that is messed up. So they need to get their crap together. Like, seriously. Okay, so other things that happened in this episode. So Rick finds out from Beth, because Beth has the midnight goggles. She went to go to Courtney's house. She got the midnight goggles. She realized that they are, as she refers to, Wikipedia on fire. And it spews out. She nicknamed the goggles Chuck because she didn't want to say his whole name, which I thought was really cute. And quite frankly, she had made friends with the midnight goggles. I think the midnight goggles will probably... Dr. Midnight's goggles will be her friend. It's pretty sad that an AI is the closest she has right now. But she's very, very good at using them. And so she is able to use them to track Rick to Cindy Berman's party. And we see that Cindy Berman is just as nasty to her so-called friends and boyfriend as she is to her enemies. Which, of course, again, she is Dragon King's, you know, daughter, and she's Sheev, so it makes perfect sense. She's just a nasty person in general. Interestingly enough, though, Henry Jr. is starting to get his abilities more than likely the same as brainwaves. I don't know if it's just going to be I think he's going to be telepathic, but I don't know if he's going to get telekinesis or not. But he was definitely hearing things, because when he walked out, he started hearing, like, potentially what Yolanda was thinking in her head. And he said, what did you say? And she says nothing. And he's like, whatever. But he heard what she was thinking and what other people probably were thinking. And I think that's why he was having a headache and things were too loud. He doesn't know how to turn it off and on because his dad didn't think he had the ability. So he never trained him. Even though you saw Brainwave trying, I think in episode 2, trying to see if he had, you know, his abilities. So his son is inheriting his gifts. And I don't know why they're just now coming out, but yeah. It looks like he's going to be Brainwave Jr. But long story short, they're able to track down Rick at the party. He takes the hourglass. He's able to use it to basically squeeze a keg. And then he's like, well, you know, this is my dad's. I'm taking it, basically. And you know, do my own thing. And so Wildcat and Stargirl are basically trying to convince him to join them, but Stargirl's willing to fight him to get the hourglass back, and he's like, you can try. Then it wasn't until Beth shows up, because Basically, she knows what really happened to Rick's parents. She also knew that Rick was really, she's the one that found out that Rick was not even using his real last name. So like, but they kept blowing her off. But it was actually Beth that showed him a hologram. You know, the goggles showed the hologram of what happened to his parents that convinced him to join them. And he's doing it for revenge, not for any like team camaraderie they're going to do and to go against the Injustice Society. But he's now in to hunt these people down who took his parents from him and made him this angry that he can't stop hitting things. Overall, it was a really good episode. I will say that Courtney still calling Starman her dad is really bothering me because he's not your daddy. Your daddy is a criminal. I'm telling you, this girl is going to have a hard flipping fall when she realizes who her father really is. And he's in the Royal Flush Gang. He is not a hero on any scope of anyone's imagination. So she needs to get over that. I do love the fact that Pat is, yeah, I mean, you can see it. Pat's mad. He's mad. He and Courtney are going to have it out. And to be fair, I get where he's coming from. This is a 15-year-old girl running around playing superhero, making people her dad. That's not her father. And, you know, basically recruiting others on this mission by taking stuff that doesn't belong to her. So yeah, she really is messing up. But for the show purposes, she has to do it, I guess, to move the plots forward. So, well, it's going to be interesting to see what next week is like, especially when you see them going on their first mission and none of them are listening to each other because they have no training and they don't know how to be a team and they don't have any trust in each other. So yay. One more thing that I forgot to add on, and that's basically we got to see Gambler intercepting a satellite satellite parts delivery truck. And Virtuoso, because I know it's Virtuoso, is using her violin to hypnotize them, and it doesn't work on one of the people. So Gambler just shoots him, because, you know, that's what Gambler does. But I think it's interesting that the satellite parts really tell me they are following the Stars and Stripes comics. So I am very excited about that, because now I think I know what's happening, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Because I have theories. I really do. So if they are following the comic, though, then I know what's happening. I know what they're building. But yeah, very, very good episode. Again, my biggest gripes really were with how they were treating Beth in this episode. It really irritated me. But looks like we got our man. And since Beth had on a costume in the next episode, looks like we got our Dr. Midnight. So we'll see what happens in episode 6, but I would love to know what you guys thought about episode 5, so leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know who's next on the nerd ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.